Hey guys, System here, and this is all the mod 7 to the sky. Hope you're all having a great day. I myself, a fantastic one. So let's go ahead and push back into the pack here. Just gonna move forward. So in between episodes, I did a bit of stuff here. I went ahead and maximized our setup for the fissile fuel. No, fissile fuel, not fissile. And you'll notice here it's actually going at 256 millibuckets, which is the maximum per one of these centrifuges here. And yeah, just maxed it out. I got the ratio kind of worked out here. Ended up needing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the chemical oxidizers doing the dioxide. So I needed that. I don't know I have this right here, the pulverizers, but it's keeping up either way, so it doesn't matter. I'm using 10 currently, and they're all lit up, so they're all doing work. So probably do need that amount. So that is what I have going there. Had to add a second one of the chemical dissolution chambers. That's the one that actually does the spheric acid into the hydrofluoric. So that one there. These are also the only ones that take the gas upgrades. Make sure you put gas upgrades in them. Makes them much more efficient. I actually probably only needed like 1.5 of these machines. Like, I was just a little behind on that, but 2 of them is doing the thing. Ended up only needing 1 rotary and 1 electrolytic, so I just have those there. Then the chemical oxidizers, I need 6 of them, but I have 7 just because I wanted it symmetrical because it was in the center of the room. But 6 will kind of cover your needs. And the other one's just 1. Just 1 for all the chemical infusers. And then, of course, that'll max this out. So, yeah, that is kind of the setup there, and that's your ratios. So I have it kind of worked out here, and that's pretty fantastic. Took a little bit of time to do that, but I got it done. Outside of that, what else did I do? Well, up here, I set up... what did I set up here? Oh, one thing I set up was right here. Right here. There you go. Set up a backpack. This is just grabbing experience from these furnaces here. I'm going to end up moving these furnaces probably into a compact machine at some point too. Because if I actually go to my FPS there in the top left, it's dropping me down to 60 when I look at them. It's actually, this is like, this here, the center of my base is the laggiest part of the base. I think it's directly because of these furnaces. So end up moving them into a compact machine. But I had this backpack here, has a bunch of stack upgrades. It can actually hold max int experience, so 4,902 levels, because experience just keeps dropping out of these. And then I have the tank upgrade, then the experience pump upgrade, and I don't even know if you need the magnet upgrade, but I added it anyway. But it picks up the experience and puts it into the tank. And then you could just come here, and you can actually like take the experience stuff if you want to. So yeah, I could also store it too. So I could just pull it out of myself, and there you go. Just put it in there, or just take it out either way. So just good way of handling dropping experience orbs in your world, right? So I did that. And then I think the last thing I did was a bunch of crafting, but we'll kind of cover that in a bit. But up here, I set up yet another nitro reactor because our power was still getting kind of pushed. So I decided to make sure we had a little buffer there and we were good to go. Also, these are crazy, actually. If you forget to put in the bucket of coolant, so the water there, it actually only produces 80,000 RF tick. It's like 1/3. That's how much it cuts it down just for that 1 bucket of water that never gets used up. Kind of strange, but at the same time, it's definitely how it works here. Going to be using that for something later on, I think. And I think that's pretty much everything I did, except for, like I said, crafting. The crafting. Let's go ahead and show you the crafting I did here. My plan for today is to get to the fission reactor, right? So we'll go ahead and do that. But we got a little bit of stuff we're going to do before that. So I crafted all this stuff. This is going to be for an ethylene setup over here. This over here is going to be for waste, nuclear waste, I guess, processing. It's going to be what that's for. So the nuclear waste, after we set up the reactor, we're going to need a isotropic centrifuge and a solar neutron activator. One's going to turn it into plutonium. The other one's going to turn it into polonium. We need both to get the supercritical phase shifter, and then we need the polonium, I think, in time to make the antimatter. So that's what that's about. But in this bag here, this is everything we're going to need for the actual fission reactor as well. So I went ahead and made all this stuff, and these couple other things here to kind of facilitate that and get that all done. So that's everything I did. I know it's a lot of stuff, but we're at the point where I just got to grind things out, right? What we're going to do right away, I think, is probably go ahead and get into a setup here to do HDPE. So I mentioned I needed the solar neutron activator. This needs a HDPE sheet. We need this for parts of the star anyway, so we might as well go ahead and set it up and get it done. But we'll go ahead and get that kind of set up here really quick. Then we'll go ahead and set up our fission reactor. Also, I need to, I guess, go get mineral as well. I need mineral to make sure we could fill the reactor up with water consistently and fast. Also, this needs to be fixed like right now. And okay, we're going to set up our little ethylene setup here, our HDP setup down in this hole here. So I think I have all the machines I need. I just need to kind of get everything here. Need that, and this right here. The crusher will sit over here. The pressurized reaction chamber, the first one will sit here, and the electrolytic will sit over there. So that is what we want. The first liquid we need to make is the ethylene. So the ethylene is going to be made with water and hydrogen. So that's what we need to get into this machine here, right? It also needs biofuel. So this one over here will be for biofuel. Have to figure out how I'm going to get that in there too. We'll probably just do it down here somewhere. Just do something like that. Sweet. Go ahead and break you. And in here I have a whole bunch of cactus. It's going to crush down the cactus and turn that into biofuel. I'm getting the cactus from our source setup. So yeah, from the source setup. So that is going to work out for us. Let's go ahead and grab a logistical. Go ahead and pop that right there. Then go ahead and probably just set the extract if I can grab the right tool there. So that's good. So I'll start doing that, which is fantastic. I just have a line of the power too. A line of power on the back too. Nothing too special there. Sweet. So that'll handle that. Then we'll want to auto output that out this side, which is apparently the default of the machine. So we should be able to just turn that on. When it's done, yeah, I should get some biofuel in there. So that is what we want there. Also think I have some muffling upgrades. Probably not going to do a lot of upgrades for these ones because I don't actually need this set up fast at all. I just need it fast enough, you know what I mean? Let's go ahead and mute you. Here you go. Let's mute you as well, and then make sure you're quiet as well. So that's good. These other two are going to need water in them, so let's go ahead put water right there. Should be able to just flick that little knob there. It's going to start putting water in, and then I should be able to grab ourselves a pipe here. So let's hunt down, yeah, pipe. Make sure we have the right thing. There you go. Want to move liquids, so we need a pipe. And then here we should now be getting water. So this one needs hydrogen, and this one produces hydrogen. So on this side, we want the gases. So output 1 should be the hydrogen. On this one, I should be able to just do gases, I guess, and then just clear that, I guess, and then input. That should be good there. Yeah, now it's getting hydrogen, and that should start making ethylene. So that's what we want there. Now, the next thing we need to do is turn that ethylene into liquid. We're going to do that with a rotary condensator. So let's go ahead and do this here. So you getting it right now? Nope. We'll have to set the output on the gases. Let's go ahead and set the output right here. And that should, hopefully, maybe. I don't know if that's going to work or not. So I should break this for a second. There you go. Let's set this to gases, because it'll make my life a little easier. Gases, just to make sure that's side set right. So we want that to output on that one. We'll go ahead and put that there. And now this is automatically getting ethylene, and it's going to turn that into liquid ethylene, right? Now the next step of it is to go ahead and actually turn that into, let's go ahead and check that out. Just one more step here. We need to get the ethylene and the oxygen into another pressurized reaction chamber. And with that, we'll make the actual HDPE pellets, and we won't have any byproduct with that one. We have to get the substrate over there too. How am I going to get the substrate over there? I'll have to think about that in a second. We have substrate in this one, right? Yeah, I actually have a drawer for this. I remember now. Go ahead and do you. Go ahead and break that real quick. Sweet. And probably this too. I'm just making random holes here. Should be able to grab this drawer, which I think I already have locked as well. So let's go ahead and grab you and put you down here. Then make sure it's on the items, right? So items we want down. Actually, auto eject might just handle that actually. Are you gonna start going down, or do I have to set the output side on that? I can't remember. Where is bottom? Bottom output? There you go. And that should be going automatically down there now. So then I guess the next thing we need to do is go ahead and get the pressurized reaction chamber here. And that should automatically start putting down ethylene. Well, actually, it's got ethylene. Why did it stop? Oh, this one doesn't have power. I'm going to have to power this one independently. So let's actually go ahead and grab, probably from the top, actually, on this one. There you go. It's going to be a little bit of a jank setup, but at least it'll be compact, right? So that'll do that. That'll start actually actively making the liquid ethylene and putting it into here. Then I guess the last thing we pretty much need to do is get this oxygen out the front of this other machine, right? So let's go to the side config, down gases, and the front should be right here, right? And I should be able to set that to, not that, there you go. Hopefully I got the right thing there. The oxygen, and then all we have to do is get that substrate in there, and it should start making HDPE. So let's go ahead and see if we can actually get that done here. Pretty simple, but at the same time, it's a little weird how it works, right? Actually, I can't get to the extract of that there to set it. So let's go ahead and do that. And we don't need this connection right here. Let's go ahead and pop that out of there. And that, hopefully, is doing the thing. It just needs power, probably, right? Let's go ahead and grab ourselves one more universal cable and bring that right there. And hopefully that does it. If so, we are already pretty much done. Cool. That is actually awesome. So I think that handles everything. I guess the last thing we need to do is pump that into AE, right? So what we'll do is go ahead and grab... Actually, do I want to do that? Let's just do an ender chest. That way I can just go ahead and filter it via a drawer. I don't have to worry about getting too much of this stuff, right? Because like I said, I don't need a ton of it. So side config, go to... Where's items? I'm on items. I want the front. This will be an output. Auto eject on. And hopefully, if that works... There you go. That is HTTP done. I just need to set up a drawer, and this is finished. So that was our entire ethylene setup. I'll probably just cover this up with structural glass and just pretty it up and call it a day, right? Be just a nice little kind of thing hitting the floor to look down. Interesting thing in the floor kind of have going on, and that'll be pretty much it there. So yeah, I'll go ahead and do this in a drawer, and then we'll move on to, I guess, mineral next. So hopefully we don't get RNG'd, but basically to get our first mineral kind of sapling here, we need to sit here and sift down these on a, I guess, any mesh. It doesn't even matter. Oh, we just got one there, so that is good. Then we'll have to go ahead and grab ourselves some dirt, because dirt would be wonderful. We need to get ourselves a little bit of the berries, and once we have the berries, we can actually just go make the mystical seed. And once we have the mystical seed, we don't have to worry about it anymore, because we'll just have infinite of the wood, and that's what I like in life, right? So anyway, hopefully this could grow here too. Oh, it broke one of my wires too, but anyway, not worry about that. Go ahead and grab that one. It has different types of logs on it too. So one of them wasn't enriched. So we actually got some of the crystals that we need anyway. But hopefully we get our saplings back. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes these are pretty cheap. There you go. How many of the berries did I get? I got that and I got the berries. So that handles that. I actually don't need this setup anymore. Then I think it's up here, right? Yeah, let's go ahead and head up here. And we should be able to make our first mystical seed here. Don't have to set up the auto crafting, but after that point, we'll be good on mineral. We'll probably set up the mechanical squeezer too, just so we can make these crystallized mineral chunks really easy, because there's what is actually used for all the crafting and stuff too, right? So just want to kind of get that out of the way, because quite frankly, integrated dynamics or piping is something insane, especially for fluids. It's just straight up broken. So let's just go ahead and temporarily break that connection, which should work out. And then I guess we just need to add the recipe. Also, I should turn off the redstone for right now. And then I guess we'll go ahead and pull those out of there. And then we want this essence, just one in each slot. And then we just do that. Then remember that setup. Go to the recipe over here. And I forget what the actual recipe is. We want the actual log. So let's go ahead and do that. Then apply that, and that should work there. And I should be able just to ignored. Ignored should work, right? Wait, off, ignored. There you go. That's good. Then we'll just go ahead and hook this back up. Anything in this chest? Nope, that is fine. And it looks like it already did the first recipe, so we actually started getting the logs here. Next thing we need to do is just a little very temporary manual process of getting the crystals. Then we can set up the mechanical squeezers. Then we don't have to do this anymore. We'll be at the point where we can just fill up the mechanical squeezer and get us all the chunks we need just with the wood alone. But first we need to do this. So you just take this here, and then you see these little lines here. That kind of determines where you put your drying basin. You can hook up 2 of them, but then you have to do like 2 logs per kind of process, right? It doesn't really speed anything up. Anyway, go ahead and grab a button. Do that right there. Cool. And then we got to do really manual work here, right? We got to do very manual stuff. So basically just take a log here. Then you just kind of jump up and down. You can actually automate this process with an armor stand. I've done that in the past, but you'll see there, just puts the kind of liquid in there. Takes a couple seconds. That should dry out. Hopefully, you're going to dry out. Do your thing. Hit the button, and then you can actually do another one. So that is kind of the process there. A little tedious, but you don't have to do it very long if you actually kind of just grind out the mechanical squeezer. But I just need enough to be able to craft this buddy here. I just think that's like 4 blocks and then a couple of crystals. I think these crafted 9 of those too, right? So yeah, we'll just go ahead and just hammer this out. Probably won't automate this one either. I'll just have it kind of set up over here, and if I want to do a batch of crystals, because integrated I'll probably be just using for piping, so I'm not really worried about it. Over here I'm going to void off the fluid too. It is a way of getting kind of extra mineral chunks out of it, but I don't really care about that. I just want to be able to load it up with wood, and yeah, just have it get us a bunch of the actual kind of things we need here, right? So you'll see there, it just processes the wood, and then you get your mineral chunks. So super, super easy in that regard. And yeah, just really simple. And now we'll have the wood automatically anyway, so I could just throw a bunch in there at any time I want and get a whole lot of this stuff. Otherwise, get all this liquid, and you can kind of pump it into a drying basin and kind of do that as well. Kind of like getting some extra fluid there. But at the same point, like I said, I don't really care. And then there you go, a fluid importer. And that should be everything we need at this point, actually. That'll actually handle all our liquids for our setup. Then I guess the last thing I need to do is go ahead and grab these ender chests here. Let's go ahead and do that. And I already set up the recipe, I think, for crushing down fluorite. I need to verify that real quick. Can't remember if I set up that recipe or not. Added a second pattern provider up here too, because this crusher's been very busy actually. Yeah, I'm gonna need one for fluorite dust. So let's just do a exporter, I suppose, straight to somewhere. I have a hole in one of these walls here. Is it on this floor? No, it's on this one here. Where did I do that? I have a way to get out. There you go. I can escape. I need to make some kind of doorway or something. Anyway, let's just come over here, I suppose. And we're just going to steal a channel from right here. Then we'll go ahead and grab ourselves a exporter, which I probably have in my bag, actually. Got a exporter, export bus. Then I should have a crafting card. And probably want ourselves accelerations as well. That is good. Probably just 3, because that's all it could take, right? Craft card, that. And we should be able to automate this super simply with just filling up the chest of materials, right? We need 1 flux cable as well. So anyway, do you. Go ahead and throw in the crafting. That there. Then, what is it? FLU? Yeah, there you go. Then the fluorite dust. And that should just fill up this chest with fluorite dust, which is amazing. And that'll make it so when we get our mechanical waste, we can actually process it properly. Because I think each machine is going to take that, right? Anyway, I think that's pretty much everything we need. We can actually go ahead and actually set up our fission reactor now after doing all the bits and bobs. So let's go ahead and set up our fission reactor. But before we do, I was sick for 3 days. Sick for 3 days. Haven't been able to continue this video from the last scene until now. Basically because I was sick for 3 days straight. I had a fever just kind of pop on me, up on me out of nowhere. And then I just started freezing. Instead of getting hot, like a normal fever, I got super, super cold. And it felt like I was walking in the Arctic. And I've never been so cold in my life, basically. And I live in Canada. So that's saying a lot, you know what I mean? And yeah, it was nasty. It was like, I couldn't even hold a glass of water without it like falling out of my hands. I was shaking that much. I had no control of my muscles at all. I was just shaking, convulsing that much. It was insane, utterly insane. And yeah, that was yeah, about 2 days of my life being cold and finally getting better now. So yeah, it's been interesting, but I'm back and it's a thing. And yes, it wasn't COVID. I got tested again. Just not a thing. But we're gonna go ahead and finally set up our fission reactor and kind of move on here. So I have one of these here, quantum mechanical porter. We're gonna be using this to move the fissile fuel, right? To move the fissile fuel over to where we're going to be setting up the reactor away from the base because it is kind of dangerous, right? So I think I have this set to gas. Yeah, output right there. I guess we want input here, right? Input right there. No, I just want input. Input right there. That looks good. What we're going to do is export the fuel into here, right? So we just go ahead, grab you, pop that there. Go ahead and do that. Then we need to create a channel here. I guess it's called a frequency in these things. Apparently owner. Apparently I don't own this thing. I'll never understand this thing. But anyway, go ahead and grab our reactor. What's called reactor. I guess that'll be the actual name of the frequency here. There you go. And then select it. And now see if it's going in there. And there you go. It is, which is amazing. And now we'll be able to move that wirelessly over to our reactor area. So that was kind of the last part we needed to do. Now that we have that, we should be good to go. I don't know what the buffer of this thing is, though. But my goodness, it actually looks pretty big, doesn't it? That's already 200 buckets. How much of that fuel do we actually have now? Go to fissile. I already have a ton of it. I didn't realize I had quite that much. We have tons and tons and tons of that fuel. So it would be backlogged for a good while, though. My goodness, that yeah, it's got a big buffer. But anyway, let's go ahead and actually set up our reactor now and get this done. Let's go ahead and head over to where we're going to actually set up the reactor here. So notice I have another teleport. We'll go ahead and use our teleporter here. You notice that I've already built the kind of outer shape of the reactor. It's going to be a 15 by 15 by 15. That's going to be kind of the build we go with here. It's going to all fit into a single chunk. So you go to F3G, you'll see it'll fit in a singular chunk, which was kind of the plan here. Just kind of reduce any lag issues because we'll be chunk loading it, I guess, back at the base, right? It'll be over here doing its thing. This thing is known to be a little laggy, right? Especially once we have the turbine set up, probably in the next episode, right? So I want to kind of deal with that as much as possible. Also, if this thing ever kind of melts down and starts bleeding radiation, which is what it does, right? It'll actually irradiate, like, I think it's like a 60 block radius around it or something like that. It's a really big area either way. And yeah, you'll just take damage. So if that was in my base, I would be irradiated and I wouldn't be able to do anything in my base, right? I didn't want to have any part of that. So yeah, we'll just do it this way, right? Anyway, let's go ahead and grab this here. So this is a 15 by 15 by 15. Like I said, the max is a 17 by 17 by 17, I believe. And yeah, I'm going to go with this one just because it fits into a chunk. The outside of it has to be all fission reactor casing. So that's why I did that. Then we use this rafter glass for pretty much all the rest of it, except for the few ports that we had to put in, right? So be what we go with here. Make sure you actually use reactor glass. I've actually done this before by mistake with structural glass and could not figure out why it wouldn't multi-block, and it gave me a bad hair day. So anyway, would come up here. Made me very frustrated, to say the least. Oh, I should show you how I got this platform out here in the middle of nowhere. I have this here, the what is this thing called? The Infinity one, Angel Core. Added a Angel Core to it, so you can like add cores to this thing, right? So one of them's an Angel Core, Angel 1 core, I guess. Hit Control Shift and right click. I can actually switch to the 1 core there. Then if I put these in my offhand, I can just kind of right click and put blocks. So yeah, just really cool little item there. Very useful for I guess building islands in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, next one we're gonna need here is gonna be a whole bunch of these fission fuel assemblies. We're gonna grab a bunch of these. We're gonna be using like 1,000 of these things. I think I overcrafted a bunch of stuff too. Because at first I thought I was gonna do a 17 by 17 by 17. Then I realized, hey, I should keep this all in a single chunk, right? Because then the turbine, I think the max size of that is a 15 by 15 by 18. So it'll fit like directly above us, right? And then I'll be able to move the steam directly out of this thing and directly into the turbine when we set that up probably tomorrow, right? We won't get to that today, obviously, but yeah, we'll definitely get into it tomorrow. And that's going to produce a lot of extra power for us to run the SPS, which is the supercritical phase shifter. There you go. You bring this layer up to here. Apparently, yeah, I made way too many of these here. The fuel assemblies. These fuel assemblies too, they kind of decide what the burn rate of the reactor is going to be, right? So for every one of these, you can burn 1 more millibucket per tick if you can provide enough coolant, right? We won't be able to provide enough coolant to even probably do half of them. So a lot of them are probably pointless unless you're running sodium, right? So just something to be aware of there. You probably don't need a lot of these control rods is basically what I'm saying. You could probably actually take out half of them and probably be okay. I just went with the full checkerboard kind of setup there because it's supposed to be the most efficient setup. But at the same point, it's not going to be very efficient, I guess, if I'm not going to be utilizing the setup to its, I guess, most complete use. You know what I mean? To run the other coolant is sodium, and sodium is a giant pain in the butt, and I don't want to bother with it. So we're going to be using pure water. It's much easier and it takes almost no thought. The last thing we need to do here is actually break one block and replace it. So let's go ahead and do that and that. And there you go. It's going to multi-block. So I wanted the reactor glass all the way to the edge here. And that won't actually make the multi-block trigger. You actually have to do a single block. So that's why I did that there. But anyway, it is fully multi-blocked now. Let's go ahead and drop off what we have here. Because we don't need any of this jazz. I made too much of everything, but that's fine. Grab our porter. We'll need this stuff. What else do I need right away? Probably a sink, a trash can, and I got some tubes here too, right? Yeah, let's go ahead and set up everything. So I guess the first thing we want to do is go ahead and get our fuel in here. I guess would probably be the most important thing to do. So let's go ahead and head here. Go ahead and grab ourselves a... Oh, I didn't grab any ports. I need the ports here. Yeah, the fission reactor ports. Let's go ahead and grab them. We'll end up with a couple in here, I guess. Let's put this here. Where do I want to put everything, actually, now I think of it? Put one here. Then I'll put... This one I'm going to do waste. This will be waste over here. That one will be fuel. This one will be coolant. And this one will be water. Let's do it that way. Okay, let's go ahead and grab that right there. So first one, fuel. Fuel can go in that one there. The green means input. This one will be water, so this one will be input. I just want to get all the kind of ports set correctly right away. This one here will be the waste, so we'll change the color on that. So you notice that one says output waste, and this one will be coolant, and I believe that's going to be a blue port there, right? So we'll go with that there. On the output coolant one right now, all I'm going to do is throw one of these trash cans. That's actually going to void off all the steam for now until we actually have a turbine. So I can kind of work out what our burn rate is. So we need to do some testing on this to see what our burn rate can be with this reactor without it kind of overheating, right? So we're going to do that with that there because it's safe. Yes, it's a ultimate trash can. But if you go to a regular trash can, right, go to the fluid one, you'll see that they can actually void off liquids and gases. So I don't know if there's any benefit to having ultimate, but that's what I'm using there. We'll go ahead and grab ourselves this here, Entangleporter. Do that. And probably set that to our channel here. Or I should say frequency. I guess that's what it is technically with the mod here. Go ahead and grab ourselves, not a cable. Want a transporter. No, I want a tube, man. There we go. There's a tube right there. There you go. Go ahead and, I guess, pull out of that. And then we probably need to set aside on that, right? We want like gray. No, input, output. There you go. And with that set, there you go. Our fissile fuel is in there. We already have 8,000 buckets being pulled in from our other setup that we just did earlier back in the base. And then I guess the waste for right now, I'm not going to do much, but I'm just going to go ahead and throw a couple of these tubes in. Basically, each one of these tubes is 1,000 buckets of liquid storage. So they're just giant liquid storage by themselves, right? One thing to note too, with this reactor setup, anything that has waste in it, do not break, or you're going to, again, irradiate all your chunks. Also, anything that has polonium or plutonium, which is the first thing you kind of, I guess, process stuff into, do not break that either, because that stuff's radioactive too. And then there's another waste, the spent nuclear waste, right? That stuff as well. Do not break that, because you have no way of processing that one. You just need to kind of bulk store it somewhere and just hope it ceases to go away. I guess exist, but which it won't, because yeah, it's just like real world, right? Anyway, that is what we got going on. So we have that taken care of. I guess the last one is water. Water's kind of like the most important one, I guess, at this point too, to make sure we don't overheat. So let's go ahead and throw this down. See, we don't have any logic cables. Let's go ahead and grab a logic cable. Apparently, I forgot to make some of these. There you go. And then we'll just go ahead and hook this up here. We want the fluid importer. Then go ahead and grab a interface. Sweet. And you're about to see the most broken fluid transfer and all the modded. And import here, import all fluids. We go ahead and pop this here. We used this before for something. I think it was for making singularities at one point. Oh, wait. We want to hunt this down, fluid transfer rate. And then you just kind of max it out. Go real high with it. Yo, I won't even go that high. That's high enough right there. What is that? That's 9,000. That's 10,000. Yeah, that's 99 million millibuckets per tick. So yeah, that's good, right? I think we good. I don't think we need to worry about that. So that should be fine right there. And that'll be our initial setup. This thing's actually safe to turn on right now, right? So we got our fuel, we got our coolant, we got a place to store waste temporarily, and we are going to void off the kind of coolant here, right? So let's go ahead and turn this thing on. So I'll go ahead and turn that on. Go over here, you'll see our heat capacity. So as long as we don't go over our heat capacity, we won't actually suffer any damage inside the internals of this thing, right? But once we go over that heat capacity, we'll start taking damage on our fission reactor and bad things happen, right? The boil efficiency, I think that's because the checkerboard kind of setup that we have. And I'm not sure what the fuel surface area, I think that's probably just a way of calculating something. I'm not sure. I don't know what it affects, to be honest. Max burn rate, that's because of how many of the actual fuel assemblies we have, right? So that's what's going on there. But you'll notice over here now, we're actually getting some waste. We're not getting any of the steam because it's being handled by this instantly right there. We don't have to worry about that. But yeah, if we want to go ahead and see what our burn rate can go to, this is the best time to test it, right? We're in safe mode because right now everything, steam can't go anywhere. Like this is the safest time to do it for us. So let's go ahead and grab like 200 millibuckets per tick right here. See where we go up to. We go up to 700,000 K, I guess is where we're at. And I guess 700 is what it is. 712.66. Is that what that is? I think it is, right? So I think that's what it is right there. Yeah, 712.66 Kelvin. And that's more than safe for us, so I know I can jack it up there. So I'm just going to go ahead and pump that up some more. We could probably double that, to be honest. Let's go ahead and go to 4. Go. We're over 1,000.05. Notice that the color's changing. It's telling us it's getting a little risky here, right? It's getting a little risky. But we're still in a safe range here, right? So I'm going to push that straight up to 450 here. There you go. I'm just trying to figure out a safe burn rate here. Go. So that's 1,130. Is that what that is? I'm guessing. I'm going to guess what that is. Yeah, because it's KK now, right? And we're still safe. If I put this up to 500, I bet I'm going to take damage. You know what? Let's put it at 490 and see what it has. Oh, not 590. I'll start taking real damage. Let's go to 490 here. See there, the damage going up. We're over 1200 now. And that's what happens too, right? So if you end up getting that damage over a certain percentage, it'll actually start destroying blocks in the reactor. And that's what happens. It overheats. So if you turn up the burn rate too high, that's one way that can happen. The other way that can happen is you can't pull the coolant out fast enough. That's a second way it can happen. The third way that can happen is when you have your turbine set up, right? And you're pumping steam in your turbine to produce power. If you don't pull that power out of the turbine, it'll stop accepting steam. Like it won't take more steam because it won't burn it because you're not pulling out the power. So that's a third way that's actually one of the common ways people do that. The most common way people actually irradiate their base actually is from coming over to pipes like this right here and breaking them. Do not break things with nuclear waste in them or anything radioactive in them. Just don't do it because bad things happen. And yeah, it's not a good time. Like right now, our tank in here is empty. I could break this reactor. I'm good. But if it had waste in here, I couldn't do that. Another way this thing can bleed radiation, probably another one that a lot of people do. This waste tank, if it ever gets full, it will bleed radiation. So if you always have your waste taken care of, and you always have your steam taken care of, and you know your burn rate, you can't really blow this thing up, right? You can't. You don't have to really worry about it. So it's about figuring out your burn rate, finding your acceptable, safe burn rate, right? Oh, I didn't want to do that. Shouldn't have done that. I want to change that down to like 450. Let's do this right here. There you go. Notice that the damage goes back down too, right? So you go ahead and hit activate. But yeah, finding your safe burn rate, leaving it there, making sure you have something like this where that can move massive amounts of water into it and keep up. And if you do set up a turbine, make sure you have a giant battery so it's constantly pulling the power out of it so it never gets backed up, right? It needs to be always pulling that steam, or it's going to go kaboom, right? And just don't break cables, right? So I may have gotten a little long-winded with this one, but I really wanted to make sure that people understood why the reactors break, because I don't think a lot of people understand why they break, because a lot of people that make videos about them, they show you what logic, I guess, circuits you need to kind of keep them a little safer, right? I probably will only use one myself, to be honest, but they never tell you exactly why it's going to break in the first place. They don't really break it down, right? So I really wanted people to understand what breaks these reactors, right? So I guess I achieved that, at least anyway. But I may have been a little long-winded. But anyway, I'll go ahead and end this one here. We'll come back next video, set up a turbine, and we'll probably set up the supercritical phase shifter. So I'll be the plan there. But I'm going to go ahead and end this one here. So as always, guys, like this video, please hit that like button. Really liked it, hit that subscribe button. It is always appreciated. Well, you guys all have a good one. See you guys in the next video. Later.